We have all had this moment when doing magic tricks that I like to refer to as hand on your dick. So by this, I mean that you just caught there holding your dick because somebody asked you to do a trick, and maybe you do like a little shit coin trick, you make a coin disappear, or maybe you say, oh, you don't have your cards on you, and they take out a deck that looks like not only it's been used as a cum rag, but also looks like Jesus Christ himself has used it to wipe his head cheese. So today I'm going to be showing you guys my go-to trick in this situation. I'm going to leave this sign here, really just to cover this cum stain I got over here. I'll be showing you guys today my second favorite card trick, which is the go-to trick that I do anytime somebody hands me one of these decks that just looks like it's been through shit. This one in particular looks like it's literally been through actual shit. Before you start, it's very important for this deck to be mixed. That's to eliminate any sort of rogue pubic hairs that may have found its way inside of the deck. So do an overhand shuffle, do a riffle shuffle. Then it's very important that you do a Hindu shuffle and then bless the deck using Reiki just to make sure you don't catch anything from it. Then you can go ahead and do another riffle shuffle, maybe another overhand, and you should be good to go at this point. You have someone select any card that they want from the deck, then you might point at somebody else and say, instead of picking a card, I have you think of a card. That'll be more impressive. They say stop anytime they want. Let's say they stop here on this particular card. This card, of course, gets mixed and shuffled into the deck. Then you shuffle the other card, which in this case, today, it will be this card. That goes in the deck as well, of course, making sure these cards are lost forever in the deck. So you claim to this first person after a thorough shuffle that you'll be able to find their card with just a couple simple cuts. So at this point you go into whatever Daniel Madison Buck Twins bullshit you want. You could do a cut with two hands just to impress the ladies, if you know what I mean. And then at this point you claim that you have mixed their card right to the top of the deck, and you show that you have in fact found the six of hearts. Before they start spontaneously ejaculating, you remind them that there's somebody else that has a card that they're thinking of. They need to ejaculate as well. So you inform them that they need to be thinking of their card. And then you say, just think of your card. Say it over and over in your head. Jack of spades, jack of spades. That was it, right? Yeah, now you're ready. Yeah, now you're ready. But I know you want me to find your card, so I'll do that for you anyways, out of the kindness of my heart. So then you do a little riffle action towards the card on the table, and magically, it's changed to the card they were merely thinking of. So at this point, you're coming, they're coming, everyone's fucking coming. Even though this trick may seem as some basic beginner bullshit, do not dismiss it just because of its simplicity. So this trick, you're getting a lot of mileage. From a shuffled deck with only 2 moves, you're getting fucking heat. So to get in this, you have a card selected by one person, and then you turn to another spectator and you have them peek at a card. Now, instead of doing the traditional riffle method, I like to spread the cards towards them. That makes it a little bit more fair. So in this case, they say stop whenever they want. In this case, they'll stop on the King of Hearts. Now you're going to get a pinky break below the King of Hearts and control it to the bottom of the deck via your favorite method. In this case, I'll use a double undercut. Then afterwards, while the other spectator is looking at their card, you're going to use this finger right here, which happens to be your mom's favorite finger, and that one is going to squeeze on the upper right corner and get a pinky break, which is going to be transferred to a thumb break, so that when the first spectator puts their card back in this half of the deck, after of course picking up the card, what happens is that you deposit that card as you have a pinky break. So now it's the thought of card followed by the card that was selected by the first spectator. This gets controlled to the top via double undercut. Then maybe you could do a false shuffle as long as you keep those cards on top of the deck. So we have the thought of card followed by the first person's card. So at this point you can insert any sort of Daniel Madison shuffle that you want, any sort of basic bitch Buck Twins bullshit. If you want, then maybe do these cuts. I know I showed the first one in one of the videos that I first had. I'll link that above. And then you could show after doing a double lift, which you do by getting a pinky break, saying that you control their card to the top of the deck to the first spectator. You do a double lift and show in fact that you have, through all those magical shuffles, caused their card to go to the top. Of course, now what happens is that you flip this card over, and this is the thought of card by the second spectator. So you're going to need to peek at this card, of which you do in a very coy fashion. After you have the double lift, you're going to point at this spectator and tell him, oh, so you had one card that you picked. Now I need to find this other person's card. That's the justification that you're going to have to do the peek for the second person's card. So if you want, you could also point at this guy and say, now I'm going to find your card, even though you're just thinking of your card. Of course, getting the peek that way. So at this point, you turn to them and you do this Darren Brown bit where you tell them to think of their card and say it over and over again in their head. Say, for example, King of Hearts, over and over in their head. and reveal to them, in fact, that you knew the card ahead of time. It's at this point that I remind them that even though I plucked the thought from their fucking heads, I still haven't found the card physically. So I make some sort of pass towards the card that's been on the table the entire time, and this, of course, ends up changing to the card that they were thinking of. This is a realization that will make them jizz in their pants. If the context is right, at this point I like to do something from my OG nigga David Williamson in one of his DVDs that he calls the 40% principle. Now what you're going to do is that after the trick is done, you're going to do a top change for the card that's on top of the deck, which is the original first person's card. So this, I do it nonchalantly. I just leave this card on the table on the off chance that somebody will think they have the biggest dick and say, hey, can you change it again? Of which case you do a magical pass over the card and change it again. If this situation happens, their whole dick is going to explode. And they're going to have a hand on your dick, if you know what I mean. And I think you know what I mean. They're going to have a hand on your dick. As far as some tips on the top change itself, I'm not really keen on this move, but in the right context and on the offbeat, it's indetectable. They'll never be able to see it. So as far as I do it, I like to gesture with the card in the right hand. And as the left hand passes in front of it, that's when I execute the switch. So at speed, it should look a little bit like this. If I have the 9 of diamonds, I make a gesture with the left hand and I switch the cards then. Now the top change isn't something I do every time at the end of this trick, but if you have the right crowd, usually it's people that are not American. If you have French fucks, if you have Arab fucks, if you have South American fucks, they don't count as American. They're rude, so they don't know how to behave in public, so they'll definitely make a comment like that. But if you do it in the right way and you do change the card after they suggested for you to change it, then you could definitely expect a hand on your dick. Speaking of, I'm going to figure out whatever the fuck this is. It's come. It's come.
I see you again. When 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 I see you again.